I want to say hello to everyone. My name is Alina Bloomgarden. I'm the founder of Music on the Inside, and Richard Miller has been with us since the beginning, teaching for us in the prisons. He's a master teacher, and when he went to California, we still kept him with us. He still teaches and helps us with our mentorship program and these concerts, so we're always so grateful and happy to have you with us. Thank you so much, Richard. So it's my honor tonight to introduce some very special people to you. We've done more than 80 concerts since the beginning of COVID, but tonight signifies the beginning of a whole new era. With support from Humanities New York, we're adding in some real movers and shakers in the criminal justice space, people who are really making a difference. And it's my honor right now to introduce our two hosts for the evening. First of all, Brian Jackson. Brian Jackson, just a flautist, a singer, a composer, a pianist. He was known originally for his collaboration with Gil Scott-Heron, and he was with Earth, Wind and Fire, Stevie Wonder, Kool and the Gang, Roy Ayers, to name a few. But his newest album, This Is Brian Jackson, was just released this May to great acclaim. So please look him up. So I was so honored to be introduced to this gentleman through our own Arturo Farrell, who serves on the board of MOTI. We call it MOTI, Music on the Inside. And they all collaborated with a bunch of other wonderful musicians on the Freedom First concerts, a recording and performance and film initiated by the pianist Albert Marquez to campaign for a new fair trial for Keith LaMar, in the belief in his innocence asserted by various witnesses. And we're honored that tonight we're going to have Keith himself performing his own poetry from where he is still incarcerated. But we're so delighted that he's really joining us tonight. And I want to just recommend everyone to listen to the podcast series that they created together, Brian Jackson with Keith LaMar. It's an education and a heart-opening experience in itself. The other host for this evening, who I'm just so delighted to introduce, has been really a mentor and a friend to me since the very beginning of Music on the Inside, the wonderful David Rothenberg. He's the founder of the Fortune Society, and prior to Fortune, he was a top-rated press agent on Broadway in the days of Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. I don't even know all the people he worked with. But he was inspired to start Fortune after producing a play called The Fortune in Men's Eyes, which revealed the horrors of life in prison. And over the past 50 years, Fortune has become one of the nation's leading reentry service organizations. And we're so delighted to partner with them. And in fact, through Fortune, many of the people that we now serve in reentry are recommended to us through Fortune. And you'll hear a few of them tonight. Wonderful musicians who put in their time but kept themselves alive through music. So that's part of our evening tonight. And one more thing, and so excited, one of my favorite stars of Broadway, a dear friend of Richard's, Christine Eversole, will also be with us later in this evening. So as many of you know, David hosts a weekly program still on BAI for over 50 years. 8 o'clock Saturday mornings, you should listen in, you learn a lot. And his own autobiography titled Fortune in Men's Eyes really teaches you a lot about the journey in this world. So it's my pleasure to introduce the two of you. I've just introduced you to each other this week. I'd love you to say a few words to each other before we go on to the rest of the concert. Brian Jackson and David Rothenberg.
Which gives me a chance to say hi first, and what a pleasure, what a pleasure it is to have met you. I actually indirectly found out about you through a good friend of mine who had been incarcerated for 46 years. And ended up um, beginning his reentry into society with the in the Fortune Society, and I personally thank you for that. Um, and I know that there are many other people who who would like to thank you as well. Um,
Well, if
can
it's a mutual admiration society, I want to thank you for your efforts, what you're doing, taking your great musical gifts and bringing it into the institutions, because there is a very healing component about the arts. I do want
Yeah.
to add that I have not conquered Zoom and forgot about lighting. I should have called Joan Crawford's lighting expert, because I suddenly realized, although she always had shadows going across her eyes to
On purpose, yeah.
accentuate her eyes, I think I'm getting a little of that now because the sun is setting in New York. Brian's in California. And
I
one
mean,
of the interesting things, Brian, is when we were preparing today, you were rehearsing with Daoud, who's in New York, and the concept of a musical duet, transcontinental, is fascinating to me. I know you've been doing this on MOTI, but I don't know how you do it because you're so far apart. Isn't there a synchronization that's needed by musicians?
there is. There is. They've been trying to figure this out over the last years, especially during the lockdown. Uh, Technicians have been hard at work trying to figure out how to eliminate that delay. They're still working on it though, but there
Well,
there are
there's a
some
good
solutions.
solution, Brian, is to get an airplane and bring you to New York, and then you can be right
Yes,
in the
That's a
room.
great solution.
let's
I
do it.
I love that solution. That's the best. So, would you talk a little bit more about your book? I'm very interested in that.
What, my book? Oh,
Yeah.
unprepared as I am, uh, I wrote a book on my life. I worked in the theater and as a publicist, and then produced the prison drama Fortune in Men's Eyes in 1967. And the book tells the story of my background in the theater and my transition from working in the theater to working in drama. And when Fortune Society began, I never thought it would be a life commitment. It was just, I was meeting men as a result of the play that I produced, Fortune in Men's Eyes. I was meeting men and then women eventually about, and realized that the punishment continued after they got out. I was meeting guys that were facing barriers on jobs and housing and lying to relatives, trying to make it. And so that was the basis of it. And I thought as a publicist, I could give a voice to those who were voiceless because they had no voice back in the 60s. But we were so effective in reaching and going in the media that so many people came to us out of jails and prisons asking for help. And Fortune has grown in the 55 years. We're now an organization with a staff of 400 and 7,000 people come through each year. And that's, I'm getting away from the book, but that's what the book is. This Fortune is the spirit of my book. And Fortune is, I'm so lucky to have had in these my twilight years to have this organization to be part of my life and me part of it.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned healing, and you mentioned the music being healing, and then so is your work. So is what you have done. So
Well,
I just want.
what we've done is create an environment that gives people the opportunity to have the life that they deserve. And the arts has been an increasingly important part of it. We have writing and music and acting groups and people who have never done it. It's not about having careers, it's about having a sense of pride and an opportunity to express themselves. And we did something last week just among ourselves, and everybody applauded afterwards. And the question I always like to ask is, how does it feel to get applause? How does it to get approval after so much of your life has been, you've been disapproved of by the system, by people? To get applause, you could write a musical about it.
Sure,
You
go
know,
ahead.
Brian, you did this podcast with Keith, and I learned something from listening to that, which I'd recommend to anyone to listen to it. And there's a word that you use, which we often use in terms of our programs. It's not only that we teach music, but that word that you used, agency. people who are willing to take agency in their lives. We just want to support them, and music is one of the most direct ways to do that. You might share a little bit about yourself and what made you really reach out in the way that you have.
Well, from the beginning, my partner, my musical writing partner, Gil Scott Heron, and I decided that not only did we just want to be songwriters, but that we wanted to be songwriters who addressed some of the problems that we were seeing in our lives as young black men, and one of those obviously was incarceration, and we had an opportunity to write a song about a young man at the time by the name of Gary Tyler, who down in Louisiana was unjustly arrested for having shot someone, and well, to make a long story short, he was in Angola State Prison. He's been in Angola State Prison and was just released like a couple of years ago. But he was 16 at the time that he was put there, and his mom reached out to us because she thought that we might be people who would be interested in writing something about him, and we did. It was a song called Angola, Louisiana. And later on, it was sampled by a group called PM Dawn. The meaning stripped away from it, of course, but it was kind of our foray into the concept of incarceration. Later on, my wife read in reading about lockdown and how to survive it, came across a book by Keith LaMar called Condemned. And in this book, he kind of outlines the kind of kangaroo court, the kind of kangaroo trial that he had, where the prosecution withheld all the evidence that could have exonerated him. Keith now is on his 32nd year on death row, without any physical evidence, because there was a riot. There was a riot in Lucasville. I'm going to let him tell you more about it.
We'll read later.
Right now, yes, because Keith is going to be joining us. And I'm sure he can do a much better job of encapsulating it, because I tend to go on way too long about it. But on the other hand, not enough. So I would like to. There's there are a couple of things. I don't know. Should we move on?
I'd love to hear you play some music, but I just wanted to say one more thing. So many of the people you're going to hear tonight are people that came to us through the Fortune Society, that we then match up with musicians as mentors, and that we have had such a wonderful collaboration with the Fortune Society, and I'm so grateful for that. It's given us an opportunity to continue the work they do in a more deep way with musicians one-on-one. So, and Brian, your work has been so amazing with Keith and with others, Arturo Farrell, Albert Marquez, really the musicians coming together and understanding the value of music and how healing.
Alina, I want to add that later on, you introduced Christine Ebersole. Later when she comes on, music on the inside, one of the most extraordinary stories, one of the experiences that I ever saw was with Christine when we went into a prison. We'll wait, and that's a teaser, because if you hold on later, we'll tell you about it. But it was a incredible experience that I witnessed.
Thank you. So Brian, why don't you give us some of that beautiful music of yours, and then we'll carry on with so many wonderful artists that are with us tonight and so many beautiful guests. Thank you all for being with us.
And one day, we're gonna have to put you on the spot, Alina, and ask you a little bit about how you began music on the inside. But we'll save that for another time. This is a song called Nomad. It's off of my new album called This Is Brian Jackson. your mind to travel past the limits of this place. The greatest truth unravels where there is no limit space. Questions there are many, answers but a few. Remind your mind to mind your mind. There's always things to do. Remind your mind to mind your mind. Remind your mind to mind your mind. Flower of midnight land, blossom with the truth that love is life and life is love, brought to man through you. Remind your mind to mind your mind. Remind your mind to mind your mind.
Thank you so much. Everyone can applaud. So happy to have you with us, Brian.
It's a pleasure.
So tonight, I'm introducing for the first time somebody that was brought to us through Richard Miller. She's also in California, Dorothy Annette. She's an artist and a musician. And I heard a story about you, Dorothy. Was it really how you started music was just the piano in your grandmother's house or something? I found that little story about you.
Yes, it actually was. She had a piano, and her youngest daughter, my aunt, was a teenager taking piano lessons. So I was exposed to the most beautiful music every day because I lived there for a while.
Thank you so much for being with us. A new artist to Music on the Inside. We're so happy to welcome you. Thank you.
I'm going to sing a song about how beautiful things are in the world, and it's called But Beautiful by Jimmy Van Heusen. Love is funny or it's sad. Love is quiet or it's mad. It's a good thing or it's bad, but beautiful. Beautiful to take a chance, and if you fall, you fall. And I'm thinking I wouldn't mind at all. is tearful or it's gay. It's a problem or it's play. It's a heartache either way, but beautiful. And I'm thinking, if you were mine, I'd never let you go. And that would be but beautiful, I know. Love is funny or it's sad. Love is quiet or it's mad. It's a good thing or it's bad, but beautiful. Beautiful. Chance, and if you fall, well, you fall. And I'm thinking I wouldn't mind at all. Love is tearful or it's gay. It's a problem or it's play. It's a heartache either way, but beautiful. And I'm thinking, if you were mine, I'd never, never, never let you go. And that would be but beautiful, I know.
Thank you so much, Dorothy. Lovely to have you with us. Aaron Goldberg said, I want to help. He's a wonderful jazz musician. He started with Betty Carter, of all people. He was a founding member of Carter's famed Jazz Ahead throughout his college years, and he really maintains an active interest in teaching and political engagement, and we hope to bring him on as one of our mentors and teachers. And right now, it's my pleasure to introduce him as a wonderful musician. please give us some of your beautiful keyboard work, Mr. Aaron Goldberg.
Thanks so much, Alina. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. It's very moving, the work that you guys have been doing, Music on the Inside, and the Fortune Society as well. I'm going to play a Haitian folk song, something I learned in Port-au-Prince from some Haitian friends. It's a folk song entitled Yo-Yo. It's about a market vendor named Yo-Yo. It's very popular with the market ladies. And this is Yo-Yo.
Stanley Richards, the senior vice president of Fortune, who was impacted himself, has been looking for a piano teacher. So who knows? Maybe we can make that match. It would be beautiful. It's great to hear you. And thank you so much for reaching out to us.
Thank you for
Really
having
means a lot.
me. Honored to be
Thank
here.
you so much. So now it's my pleasure. You know, each concert, I have the opportunity to introduce some of the people that are mentored through MOTI. And one of the people who came to us again through Fortune Society has been studying with Richard Miller for more than 2 years. And Richard tells me he's just as good as he is, so that there's a parity between them as guitarists. So it's my pleasure right now to introduce Richard Miller with his student and his colleague, really, Jonathan Finkelman, who's now part of the MOTI trio, getting work with Dawood Rahman and other musicians.
It's always a pleasure. We support each other, and so we meet once a week and explore different ideas. And we've been working on the diminished scale lately, so you might hear some diminished scales coming out. And we're gonna play my favorite tune, which is Manhã de Carnaval, which is a Brazilian tune. In English, the name is Black Orpheus. You ready, Jonathan?
Ready.
just want to say that we're beginning to have a trio with Jonathan Finkelman, Dawood Rahman, and Art Guevara. And we're going to let you all know when they're going to be playing in some restaurants around town, and you can come hear them in person. Thank you so much. Jonathan, is there anything you want to say about this work you've been doing with Richard, or the work with...
Yeah, I would. I mean, it's been really wonderful working with Richard. He's being very modest. I mean, there is a collegial feeling between us, which is really wonderful. And we do learn from each other, but I feel like I'm learning more. In Richard, I also feel like I found a good friend as well.
One of the things I was wanting to say about this work, it's not only about the music, it's really about the human connection, and that's so important for all of us, really. I found that when we worked in the prisons, it was as transformative for all of us as it was for the people that we were working with. So music is just one amazing bridge. So thank you, Jonathan, for being part of our work. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now it's my pleasure to introduce to you somebody who's come to us also in a wonderful way. Jade Elliott just got her master's in music therapy at NYU. When there was a story in the paper about music on the inside, the professors from the music therapy department at NYU reached out. Now we're establishing a relationship with Rikers music therapy department. When people who are served inside get out, we're going to be able to serve them, because before they would get out and just that would be it. And to continue to support people is so important. Reentry can be very, very challenging, and we're so honored to be doing the work we're doing. So right now, it's my pleasure to introduce the wonderful, talented Jade Elliott. Let me just say a little bit about Jade here. Oh, I had that wonderful bio. She's got some wonderful gigs happening. Maybe you share a little bit about it. I wrote it so carefully here. Just tell
Hi,
us.
everyone. Nice to meet you all. It's nice to be here. This is actually my first time joining MOTI for these concerts. I'm getting my master's in music therapy from NYU. I studied jazz all my life. My dad's a jazz pianist. And I went to UCLA to study jazz and ethnomusicology. I'm so excited to be here and to have been in touch with Alina about all of these really wonderful efforts to use the creative arts as a mental health resource. I'm so taken with everything that I've witnessed, and I'm so excited to play for you all too.
Before you go on, I just want to tell some of the new gigs that you're about to tour all over the country, and tell some of the people you're working with. She was at Dizzy's Club Coca-Cola. She's worked with a lot of top musicians. This wonderful Jade Elliott. Just tell us a little bit more about that.
I've been playing in the Diva Jazz Orchestra lately. Play saxophone. And next year we were invited to go on tour with Manhattan Transfer across the U.S. So I'm very excited about that. I remember one of my first experiences going to see them was actually with my dad. So when I called him, you can imagine, what? So I think that jazz music, as not only a process and art form, has so much to offer people. Clearly, I mean, it's made a huge difference, and continues to make a huge difference in my life, which,
Beautiful. Thank you
grateful
so
to be
much.
here. I'm going to be performing live from my my little apartment in New York. Going to be playing a Jerome Kern tune called All the Things You Are. I think there's many renditions that are really beautiful. I hope you like mine.
Jade Elliott.
Yeah.
Remember that? Jade Elliott.
Brava, bravissima.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank
So
you
now-
again for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm back to Brian, who's going to introduce his dear friend from Inside. Take it away, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you, Alina. Thank you, everybody. So far, it's just like you guys are really amazing. I would like to introduce you to a friend of mine. We've known each other for a couple of years now. As I said previously, my wife found a book by him called Condemned, where he outlined just how unjust the justice system can be. And because of that book, I reached out to him and we became friends and started a podcast called Pieces of a Man about a year or so ago. And well, we've been close ever since. I want to, he's going to read a poem that he did for an album that he's going to tell you about. It's called Freedom First. And I'd like to introduce you right now. Keith, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. How you doing, Brian?
I'm fine, brother.
Everybody?
I'm fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead,
Well,
man.
I was just listening. Just to say a few remarks first. Alina and Jay both touched on how important this music has been in bringing people together. And as you can imagine, being in the South confinement, this music is even more important. Story by yourself. You know, I remember, and I probably am recalling you all to the documentary Jazz Ambassadors, which tells the story of how the United States government sent jazz musicians all around the world to help prepare the image of this country and make more palatable the reality of race relations here in this country. That's how important this music has been thought to be. And so it has been a major component of my my life. Certainly the thing that has contributed the greatest to me maintaining my sense of my mental well-being. And this song I'm doing right now off the album is called Tell Them the Truth. It tells a little bit about my background, you know, because I was somebody before I came to prison. I continue to be that somebody. And so I'll read that poem for you all, and then we'll resume. It goes, you know, whenever I think about all the struggles and strife I've been through in my life, it's truly hard to comprehend. I mean, I'm sitting inside a cage on death row, so far away from home, so far away from everything I know. Might as well be sitting inside the hold of a spaceship. That's what it feels like to be here. It's hard sometimes to see how what I'm going through is connected to what my ancestors suffered and survived. Truth be told, I'm lucky to be alive. Real talk. Sometimes when things get too heavy to carry, I close my eyes and drift back to a time when everything was all good. A time when it was fully understood that being here on this earth was the biggest blessing. My grandfather taught me that. See, I grew up in the neighborhood called the Village, a small enclave on the east side of Cleveland. A beautiful place, you know. Fruit trees and sweet things on one corner. I was surrounded by my family and friends, and I'm telling you, there was no end to the love we shared. A real community planned by people whose only plan was to live and give everything they had. And they gave it all. Children of slaves who raised the worst of it. So we, the children and grandchildren, could make the most of it. Yeah. But to shield us from the pain of knowing the truth, they never explained what kind of society we were born into. They didn't tell us about all the tricks and traps that were designed to re-enslave, or about the hate that could deliver us to an early grave. They wanted us to be free. They wanted us not to see all the ugliness around us. So a lot of us got caught up in the darkness and lost the light that was meant to guide us through. Gotta tell the children the truth. Tell them it's not what they say, but what they do. Tell them the real about reality. That life is meant to be fair, that it's meant to be lived. Tell the children the truth. Yeah. Tell them the truth. Yeah. Thank you, Brian.
And now I'm so excited to bring back David Rothenberg with his friend and one of my favorite artists of all time, the wonderful Christine Ebersole. And they're going to share some stories about their visit to Rikers Island.
Pleasure for me to be here. Thank you for asking me. Thank you for welcoming me. I'm just so impressed with all this whole evening is just, I feel so privileged to be here. Is David there?
Hi, I was saying you can't get the press agent passed out of me. I was saying Christine's a two-time Tony Award winner.
Yes.
But my friend and Fortune Society, our residents, our first residents, we have 5 now. The Fortune Academy and the people that live there call it the castle because Dawood, who you'll be hearing from shortly, is a resident there now. People who come out of prison who are homeless have an opportunity to build their lives. And as a theater person, every Thursday night we have a community meeting and people share their stories. And as a theater person, I thought I was hearing more dramatic stories than anything I was seeing at the theater, and said, we have a play. And we created it, 4 people sitting on a stool telling their stories, and it's called The Castle. We did it for a weekend as a fundraiser 12 years ago. and you can't kill it with a stick. We've been playing it ever since. It was taken off Broadway. We've been playing it around the country. But the most exciting times are when we go into the jails and prisons, when we can go in. And Christine asked me one day, can I go with you when you go into a prison? So we were scheduled to go to the women's unit at Rikers Island, and damn them, they took away the phones, so we couldn't record anything. And it was the women's unit at Rikers. And when we got there were only 4 women. They couldn't find the other women. I knew they were there somewhere. And so we waited and waited. And then Christine stood up in the chapel. There were 4 women sitting in the back looking for our cast and 4 of the women. And she started to sing a spiritual. And what happened, Christine?
Well, there was a woman that came from the back of the room and she started singing with me. It was very organic and very spontaneous, but I think everybody was moved by the Spirit.
Well, she obviously came you were singing a gospel number, and she obviously came to the black churches where she knew one, yeah. But she also had a Marian Anderson kind of contralto that was stunning. And the 2 of you, when you sang, nobody wanted the show to be done. We wanted to hear the 2 of you go on. It was spiritual.
It really was. Yeah.
And your emotions then, were you, I mean, you were singing, but did you have a sense of the drama of that?
Well, I think the song, if I remember, what it was the song about Jesus. And it kind of goes like this. It goes, Jesus, 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 there is something about that name. Master, Savior, Jesus, like the fragrance after the rain. Jesus, 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 let all heaven and earth proclaim. Kings and kingdoms will all pass away, but there's something about that name. I think that what happens, what Jesus says, when 2 or more are gathered, there you'll find me. So I think that music has a way of transcending any different experiences or that we have had in life, and the difficulties and the strife and the darkness. It just has a way of creating a bridge. That's what music does. It's
we were in a chapel, and I think that you want gospel because of the ambiance, and she knew it from about the 4th note. She joined you.
Yeah.
It was as if you had been rehearsing it forever as a duet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You were like the Andrew sisters of gospel. It was extraordinary.
It was very special, very special.
It's very special to have you with us and sharing that, just like that, the way you did. And what you said is so true. We found that working in the prisons, just one note and everyone is just in the room together making music. Mm-hmm. All of the different life experiences just fall off people's shoulders. And that's the power of music.
So it really is so powerful. Mm-hmm.
You've come to the castle for the Thursday meetings and you get a lot of love there, but everybody is now a Christine Ebersole fan. But I remember at one of the meetings, some new guy was in, and I didn't want to tell him all the shows you'd done. He said, I saw you, I was in the day room at Attica, and then he named some soap opera that you did 25 years ago. He
Yeah,
remembered.
One Life to Live or Ryan's Hope, one of those two.
Yes, and that was so funny. What was your feeling on Rikers Island? What did you come away with?
Well, I was so grateful to have been there. I was so grateful that we were able to go, that you had allowed me to come along with you. And again, it's just, how do you come to that place where people can have hope? And I think music can give people hope. It's a way of sustaining through the difficult times, through the darkness, through the waiting. There's something about music that connects people. It connects everybody.
All of the arts. Christine, there was another time we did it at a different section for women, and they couldn't find the microphones or something. And all the women saw 4 stools, and a young woman said to me, "Will I be able to dance with this after this?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. What's your name?" And she said, "Maria." And then when the play was over, I said, "Maria, what do you think?" And she said, "I think I can dance forever now." I think that's the best review you could ever get for a play, is that, that 4 people who had experienced what she had going into prison were coming back and cheering and giving hope because they had moved on and were able to take their past and, cliche, take the lemons and make lemonade. Are we going to be able to show that wonderful clip of Christine? Can we do that now?
Please. We're going to hear you again, Christine, and thank you so much again for being with us.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you for having me.
When you're in love and you are wondering if he really is the one, there's an ancient sign sure to tell you that your search is over and done. Catch a bee, and if he don't sting you, you're in a spell that's just begun. It's a guarantee till the end of time. Your true love you have won, have won. When a bee lies sleeping in the palm of your hand, you're bewitched and deep in love's long looked after land, where you see a sun-up sky with a morning moon, and the days go laughing by when love comes calling on you. Sleep on me, don't waken, can't believe what just passed. He's mine for the taking, I'm so happy at last. Maybe I dream, but he seems sweet golden as a crown. Asleep and be done told me that I'll walk with my feet off the ground when my one true love I have found.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. That is Harold Arlen, and everyone's startled when I tell them that the lyrics were by Truman Capote. It's from a musical called House of Flowers, adapted from a short story he wrote, and I'm one of the few living Americans that saw it, House of Flowers. And that song was introduced by a young lady who had got her training in the Abyssinian Baptist Church in Harlem in the choir. Her name was Diane Carroll, and she was the ingenue that sang that song.
Wow.
But Christine, your interpretation is stunning. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Beautiful song.
so much.
Thank you.
So much. So we have a couple of more
You-
wonderful treats for you. And right now, I'm just delighted to bring to you a reunion. Brian Jackson and Dawood Rahman were high school friends. And then, of course, their lives went very different directions. Dawood served decades in prison, and they've come back together. And this is their first time performing music together since then. And we're just so delighted to have Brian Jackson and Dawood Rahman.
I don't know if Dawood wants to mention that he is one of the two subjects in a stunning documentary that just came out that I saw. Dawood, what was the name of the movie, the documentary?
Hold Your Fire,
Hold Your Fire.
starring
and a man at the,
co-defendant
and one of the men who was
Shuaib.
there at the time was interviewed 40 years later, and he said, referring to Dawood, he went to jail. He never should have. He didn't do anything. I was so upset when I saw it. Anyways.
Yeah, you've made me not want to see it. You just
Well,
such a treasure to know and to work with. What a gentleman. He's now in Oscar Feldman's ensemble through MOTI, and now there's a new trio. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to let everyone know where you guys are having your gigs now with Jonathan Finkelman and Art Guevara. And I'm just so happy to know you, and it's been an inspiration.
Me too.
What an inspiration.
And,
Me too. Me too.
well, I am most fortunate, right, to have been released after this 46 years by the skin of my teeth. I mean, it was a trial in itself, which included numerous trials. And I'm deeply grateful to the assistance that I've been getting since I've been out, especially from Alina, David with the Fortune Society, through Shuaib, my co-defendant. And I'm very pleased to have hooked up again with my old high school partner. We cut our teeth together on this music that's called jazz, and like Alina said, we are just much separate ways, But in the interim, I did maintain my connection with music, and I more or less grew as the situation allowed. And coming out and getting the technical assistance and teachings from Don Braden and the classical training on flute with Barbara Cecil, I'm beginning to be a little more satisfied with my playing, not there yet. I'm still not comfortable to that extent. Like back in the day with Brian, I was playing trumpet, and like I was saying, that some of the artists that we were into back in that time was people like Lee Morgan. As a matter of fact, Freddie Hubbard lived on Brian Jackson's block. And I was kind of uplifted to be in a situation like that. Hanging out with Brian. And we got more or less discovered by the drummer one time who was passing by and heard us and stopped and
It was Freddie.
No, Lewis Hayes.
No, it was Freddie.
That stopped by. No. Freddie Hubbard lived up the block.
Yeah.
But it was the drummer Lewis Hayes that stopped by.
Okay.
Because I saw him again, he came into Brooklyn House of Detention where I was being held, pre-trial and everything, right?
Yeah.
And we recall that, Yeah,
Oh,
but
wow.
that's who it was, Louis Hayes, the drummer who's still around.
Record.
He's like 80 something years old or 90 something, I believe now, right?
Who
I
is
think
it?
they were roommates, him and Freddie.
Oh
I
yeah,
think they both
okay.
lived in it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. We used to see them
right.
walking around in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
Remember that?
yeah,
Yeah,
but
like
definitely,
behind
like
them watching, you know.
Freddie Hubbard, driving, up and him and his wife going in the building, where they live and stuff. Yeah, yeah, I remember them days.
That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
saying, Erasmus Hall, class of '69. That's me and Brian.
us. That's us. That's
And
us.
Erasmus is like noted for like putting out some artists. Yeah,
Artists. Yeah,
Barbara Streisand graduated, and Neil Diamond and
that's right.
everything.
Now,
So yeah,
yeah.
and now Brian Jackson, and your name should be up there too. You know what I'm saying? Like I always, like while I was in, one of my, I guess, claim to fame, was, yo, man, I went to school with Brian Jackson, you know what I'm saying? Gil Scott Heron, a lot of them, even up to now, but now a lot of people don't remember, like Gil Scott Heron, right? Yeah,
Oh
people,
man,
yeah, and I have to like remind them, remember the revolution will be troubled eyes, and that, and then, but some of them, it brings back their, recollection, right? But, the fact that like you cut records with him, but shared the billing, Gil Scott Heron and Brian Jackson, in the Midnight Band, did a bunch of albums together, so I more or less like adopted, like a kind of advocate, on your behalf, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, man, Gil Brian Jack, Gil Scott, you talk all this about Gil Scott Heron, but here it is, man. He shared the bill with my partner, you know what I'm saying, who's like monster talented, I said, I knew that from way back, you know what I'm saying? And, why are you forgetting about him? So, nowadays, like with your, your new album and everything coming out, hope for the best for things being, straightened out on that front, you know what I'm saying?
man, brother, I'm just happy that we're connected again, man, because you always had
It's cool.
a lot of
It's cool.
talent, man. And one of the things that I regret is that we lost contact with each other, and
Yeah.
like all of these years, I never knew what happened to you. And if I hadn't heard from your cousin, I mean, you're to let
My
me know.
niece, yeah. Why, and she, I got to give her a little shout out. She's been like very supportive of me while I was down. You know what I'm saying, for a good while. I'm bringing up her kids and whatnot to see me, to visit me and everything. And
Really.
accepting phone calls, and like once I came out, she assisted me with a lot of things. And like. I mean, like grateful. I got to, shout out my niece Shalon. She definitely is, had been, perpetually in my corner, and like uniting, members of the family and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad she did that. When I told you, like I said, letting people know, about you, and like I let her know. And she said, "Yeah, well, you check this Facebook and all this shit type of stuff. I didn't know nothing about it, but like, she got in contact with you, and that allowed you to,
That was beautiful.
fuck with me.
I'm so thankful.
Another wound.
That's the most I've ever heard you talk, Dawood. It's so great to hear you talking to a friend and the way so beautiful.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's
So
my
beautiful.
old partner, from back in the day.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'd love to hear you guys play some music together. I know you've been working on something, and after that, we're going to have one more song with another beautiful singer, and then we're going to call it a night. But I just want to say once again, with great thanks to Humanities New York for supporting this new chapter of our concerts, including more conversation with people who are really making a difference. So, Brian, thank you for your work, and Dawood, I can't say enough about how proud we are to work with you.
Thank you.
And I can't say enough about the gratitude that I have for you and MOTI,
Thank you. Yes.
and everything. I mean, y'all been like, wow, opportunities, and wow, Eternally grateful, Alina. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Stephanie Rice was with us at our last show, and we just had to have her back. She's a beautiful singer. She's sung with Wynton Marsalis and a lot of the other cats, and she's just a beautiful singer. And she's going to sing a song for us, and then she's going to bring us all out with a blues that all the musicians are going to join in on. So, Stephanie, take it away. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
With Richard Miller, who's going to accompany her, I should definitely add.
Yes. I just wanted to say that I'm so happy and proud to be a part of Music on the Inside. And that music is definitely a vehicle for escape, but jazz music in particular, it expresses so much freedom. You know, I mean, in the beginning, there was that foundation of show tunes, and then jazz musicians, they just took it and created something totally new, something totally beautiful. And it's really nice to share that. Today, I'm going to be singing a song by Eddie Jefferson. It was also covered by King Pleasure, called Moody's Mood for Love. It's for you, Daddy. There I go, there I go, there I go, there I go, there I go. Pretty baby, you are the soul that snaps my control. Such a funny thing that every time you're near me, I never can behave. You give me a smile and then I'm wrapped up in your magic. There's music all around me. Crazy music, music that keeps calling me so very close to you. Turns me your slave. I'ma do anything that you want to. Anything, baby, just let me. Am I insane or do I really see heaven in your eyes? Stars that shine up above you in the skies. Oh, I worry about you, just can't live my life without you, baby. Come here, don't have no fear. Oh, if you ever wonder why I'm really feeling in the mood for love. Do I just start to ever think about this weather, my dear? This little dream might fade away. There I go, a talking out of my head again. Oh, baby, won't you come put our two hearts together? We can make it strong and brave. Oh, if we were one, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. But if the clouds up above us go on and let it rain, I'm sure our love together will endure a hurricane. Oh, my baby, won't you please let me love you and get a relief from this awful misery? But pray, baby. Pray, baby, but then I lay out. I think I did it right.
I just want to say before we leave that our next concert is August 14th. We're going to have some many wonderful leaders and people who really care about this issue and who are really moved by music. So I hope you can join us again, everyone. But Stephanie, take it away. Take it out. Take us all out with the blues.
A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, and. Never on Tuesday, Lordy, that day was blue. My man on Tuesday, Lord, that day was blue. But if you knew that man like I knew him, you would have left that sucker too. She didn't give time. But on a Sunday, excuse me, I thought Sunday was a holy day. Excuse me, but Sunday was a holy day. lay down. But yeah, my man on Tuesday, and Lord, that day was blue. Well, I left my nun at the door, that day was blue. You know, like I do when I left that store. If she eats for me on Sundays, it's a holy day. That man feels Sunday's a holy day. Sunday's a holy day.